My flight got canceled and I'm at the airport right now and I'm out of the state. I do not live here. I do not know what to do.
Scenes of mayhem in airports across the world Friday after that massive IT outage brought flights to a standstill.
It was very chaotic.
I've never seen it like this before, especially in this airport.
Unacceptable.
Planes stranded on the tarmac, airlines forced to handwrite boarding passes, passengers sleeping on the floor.
I was supposed to be on a 6 a.m. flight.
On my way back to New York from Milwaukee, I joined the tens of thousands of travelers whose flights were disrupted.
It's just like a standstill. Most of the signs where you normally see like boarding times and zones, it's just an error message, and it looks like this.
Those so-called blue screens of death, disrupting air travel, causing long lines, and leaving travelers flustered.
With all of the kids with us, it's really tiring, and they're all tired too.
So our flight was delayed twice.
For some passengers, direct flights turned into whirlwind journeys through packed airports to catch connecting flights.
Hopefully we make our connection.
One U.S. airline seemingly unaffected, Southwest. A spokesperson telling NBC News operations were not directly impacted, but urging customers to still check their flight status. It's a hard contrast to the airline's 2022 meltdown during the holiday season, when its computer system crashed following a reset, triggering 17,000 flight delays and cancellations, and landing the airline with a $140 million fine from the Department of Transportation.
Crazily, we just got on.
After waiting hours to board, I made my flight to New York. And tonight, airlines slowly recovering from the disruption, travelers trickling into their final destinations.
And I'm definitely one of the lucky ones who actually made it home today. We're joined now by Eric Rosen. He's the director of content for the travel site The Points Guy. Eric, talk to us about why this hits some airlines harder than others. I mean, I was surprised when I was able to get on a plane, and I sort of thought it was going to be a trick, like get on, then get back off. But when we got on, the flight attendant said it was a Delta flight, but she said we're technically WestJet. And on board, we have a different system. I also noticed it was an older plane, like didn't have TVs on the back of seats, that sort of thing. Was that part of the reason why some got hit more than others and like Southwest was totally okay here?
Well, first of all, let me say I'm glad you got home, and I really like your travel glasses. So
Thank you.
I'm glad that you didn't have too hard of a time getting home. You sort of hit it on the head. Some airlines are using different systems, running on different software. As we all know, Southwest seemed to be running on totally archaic software. They're probably still updating it, which is why they probably weren't hit as hard by this. And you, like you said, we're flying SkyWest, which is sort of a subsidiary that Delta contracts with to do certain flights. So it's not the main line, as we call it, those big jets that fly, across the country or overseas and stuff. So certain parts of the network weren't as affected as others, I would say.
So, Eric, if someone is traveling today or within the coming days, what can they do? And should they expect to see these delays and cancellations persist maybe into next week?
Unfortunately, the answer to that is yes. I think if you look at those destination boards at the airport, you see that, flights are coming in from all over the country. They're stopping at the gate for about an hour to offload and then load passengers and carrying on with their next flight. While that can be really efficient when things are working normally, it also means that if there's one knot in the system, suddenly everything else comes to a standstill. So a delay of one flight means the next one's delayed even more, followed by more and more delays. And if there's a cancellation, chances are the subsequent flights that were supposed to be operated by that airline will also probably have issues. It's not just planes, though. Remember, there are crews that have to get to various places as well. So if one crew is stranded or delayed in one outpost, chances are they're not going to get to their next flight on time. And then we run into rules like them timing out. So passengers can do a lot to stay armed with the knowledge they need to make sure their plans don't go too far awry. First of all, if you haven't downloaded it yet, get your airline's app. It'll be a good source of information for your flight's timing and whether it might be delayed, where your plane is at any given moment. But it's not the only source of truth. If you are flying, have a look at flightradar.com as well, Flightradar 24, pardon me. And you can type in your flight number and airline, and it'll show you where your plane is, right? So even if your airline app is saying, oh, your flight from San Francisco up to Portland will be on time, Flightradar might show you that that plane is actually still in Seattle and not likely to get to your origin anytime soon. So you can come prepared. That said, even if even if your flight is showing up as delayed, you still need to get to the airport right around on time, because you never know. They might be able to swap that equipment. A new crew can be found and you might be taking off. So be sure that you arm yourself with the knowledge that you need and give yourself plenty of time at the airport, even if you think you're going to be delayed for a long time.
All right. Eric Rosen with the Points Guy. Great tips. Thank you. I'm sure we will probably be talking to you again sooner than we wish. We appreciate it.